Every beginner draws support and resistance the same way, and it's the same reason why price keep blowing through their lines. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you why that happens, and I'm going to show you how to draw support and resistance zones perfectly. Stick around, hit the like and subscribe button, and let's dive into the deep sauce. Now firstly, what is support and resistance? Let's start with support. Support is an area or a level where price repeatedly stops bouncing and then starts to move back to the upside. I'll take that again. Support is an area or a level where price repeatedly stops bouncing and then goes back to the upside. This is an example of what support zone or support level looks like. As you can see, price struggled to move towards the downside, just bounce at this exact same level and then move towards the upside. Now, resistance on the other hand is vice versa. Resistance is an area where price repeatedly stops rising before moving towards the downside. So this is a clear example of a resistance zone or a resistance level. As you can see, it repeatedly touched that area before moving towards the downside. And another way I would like you to see support and resistance to make it easier for you is, think of it this way. Support level is like the floor. Just see yourself in a room. Support level is the floor. Resistance is the ceiling. You can't break out of the ground towards the downside. So that is your support zone. And if you check the ceiling, you can't break out of your ceiling. So the ceiling is your resistance while the floor is your support. So support is an area where price repeatedly bounce before moving towards the upside. It's just an area where price cannot break out of towards the downside. And resistance is an area where price repeatedly stop rising. It just touches that level and then moves towards the downside. So it can go out of that level. That is resistance zone. I believe you now understand the basics of support and resistance and what it is. So let's talk about when to find support and resistance. Now this is going to take us back to market structure. I believe you've heard about the three types of market structure: uptrend, downtrend, and consolidation. Let's take the uptrend and the downtrend aside and focus only on consolidation. Now we know that uptrend is a period of time where price is moving towards the upside, and we know that downtrend is a period of time where price is moving towards the downside. Yes, that is good. Let's leave that aside. Now what is consolidation? Consolidation or ranging market is a period of time where price is just moving sideways. It's not going up, it's not going down, it's just moving sideways. So that area or that period is called consolidation. This is an exact example of what a consolidation zone looks like. Now in a consolidation zone, this is where we find perfect horizontal support and resistance. You can see the ceiling is your resistance, the floor is your support. Resistance zone, price kept struggling to break out towards the upside, and the support zone, price kept struggling to break out towards the downside. That is when to find support and resistance during consolidation periods. Now when I say this, I don't mean you can't find support or resistance in trend line, uptrend and downtrend. No, uptrends have resistance zones, have support zones, and downtrend also have support and resistance zones. What we call it is diagonal support and resistance because it's slanted. It's not horizontal, it's slanted. So when it comes to support and resistance for consolidation, we call it horizontal support and resistance. And when it comes to support and resistance for uptrend or downtrend, we call it diagonal support and resistance because it is slanted. You understand? Now let's talk about support and resistance for the uptrend. It's very easy. If you look at an uptrend, you'll mostly see a structure like this, which is high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and higher lows. So it keeps going up. Now this is what an uptrend looks like. Higher highs and higher lows. It's going up basically. Now the zone where price refuses to break out of towards the downside, it keeps touching that zone, moving back up, keeps touching that zone, moving back up. That zone is your diagonal support because price cannot break out towards the downside. Mind you, we are talking about an uptrend here. In a case where price is going upwards, the zone or the straight line where price cannot break out of towards the downside, it keeps respecting that area. That is your diagonal support. And the area where price keeps reaching before moving back to the downside in an uptrend, that is your diagonal resistance. So you can also call this a channel, but that's for another video. This is a perfect example of a diagonal support and resistance, and it's vice versa for the downtrend. If you check a downtrend, we have price going towards the downside. The area where price cannot break out of towards the upside, it keeps respecting that zone and then going back down. That is your diagonal resistance. And the area below where price is respecting, if it's in a channel, actually if it's in a channel, then it will respect a particular support and resistance zone throughout. But if it's not in a channel, it could just have only a resistance zone. You understand? If price is in a downtrend, it could have only a resistance zone that it is respecting. It keeps reaching that area and then falling back to the downside. But it could be the same for an uptrend as well. An uptrend can have only support without having a clear resistance. If a trend has a clear support and resistance level in a straight line like this, in a straight diagonal line, that is a channel. So this is the perfect example of what a channel looks like. It has support, it has resistance. But if you encounter a case whereby an uptrend has only support without a clear resistance, it is totally normal. So the fact that I said we have diagonal support and resistance doesn't mean an uptrend must carry resistance. It could have support, but it must not carry resistance. And you should know that support and resistance must not form perfectly. This is very important because most beginners miss this. You should note that support and resistance must not have equal highs and equal lows. It could be disfigured. Support and resistance could be up, down, not having equal highs and equal lows, but you have an idea that we are not in a clear trend, we are not in an uptrend, we are not in a downtrend. We are just consolidating at a particular area at this period of time. So you will have a clear idea that it is consolidation. Consolidation can have equal highs and equal lows, like this above me, and it could also have disfigured highs and lows. So the important thing is for you to know that we are in a consolidation. Now we are going to jump on my laptop and I'm going to show you how to draw your support and resistance zones, because most beginners just use a line, and you don't just use a line to draw your support and resistance. So let's dive into my laptop where I'll show you how to draw your support and resistance levels. So I'm going to show you the three types of market structure we have: uptrend, downtrend, and consolidation. Then I'm going to show you support and resistance on these three types of market structure, and we are going to start with the uptrend. So this is a perfect example of an uptrend, because as we can see, price was moving to the upside for a particular period of time. So if we check this level, price respected it 3 good times before moving to the upside with low volatility or low momentum. But yeah, if we check, we could call this a support level. We could call it a support zone. Remember I said it must not be perfect. Support and resistance must not be perfect. It must not have equal highs, equal lows, or whatever. It must not be perfect. We could call this our support zone because price touched this, respected it 3 times. Yeah, we could call it our support zone, and we could call this our resistance zone. So this is support and resistance for an uptrend. We have support zone, we have resistance zone, because price respected this level 3 good times as well. So we could call this support and resistance for an uptrend. This happened for a while until we started to have low volume, and then price started moving up in a kind of weird way. But yeah, that's it for the uptrend. And now we have perfect example of a consolidation. Check this area. What do you notice? We notice that price is not going up, it's not going down, it's just moving sideways basically. Yeah, just sideways. That's a clear example of consolidation. Now what most beginners do is that this is how they draw their resistance zone. They just use one particular line and mark it as resistance zone, then they use that same particular line to mark here as your support zone. You see, price is not going to respect one particular line that you. I'll show you how to draw your support and resistance in a bit, but we don't use lines to draw support and resistance. I made this mistake when I started, but I figured out that we don't use lines to draw support and resistance. Rather, we use the rectangle tool. We use this tool to draw it from where the consolidation started to where it ended. So this is how we draw support and resistance zone. We extend the triangle to the weak area. That is where we extend the rectangle to, indicating that this zone around here is our resistance zone, and we do the same for this area. You see, weak level. So we mark this whole area as support zone because price kept on respecting this area and moving back to the upside. So what most beginners do is that they just use one line to mark this area, and then they leave the weak out. They leave the weak out. No, the weak is part of the resistance area, so it has to be everywhere around there. That is why we use the rectangle tool, and then we mark everything, that zone. That is how we mark support and resistance zone perfectly for consolidation. Now we're going to move on to the last type of market structure before we come to the end of this video. Now this is a great example of a downtrend. Price was moving down for a long period of time, so this is a clear example of a downtrend. Now remember when I said a diagonal support and resistance must not be perfect. You can have support in an uptrend and not have resistance for that uptrend. It must not be perfect. You can have resistance for a downtrend and not have a clear support zone for that downtrend. It must not be perfect as well. So we had a clear downtrend at this level. Price respected this level, touched it once, twice, thrice, and then it touched it for the 4th time. So this is a clear resistance level. And then if you check the support level, it's not really clear, it's just 2 touches, but we know that price is moving in a downtrend. We know this is a clear downtrend. So it brings us back to what I said: price must not have a clear support and resistance, but you will get the idea that we are in an uptrend, downtrend, or consolidation or ranging market. Another name for consolidation is ranging market. So if it's for diagonal uptrend or downtrend, of course we use the lines, the trend line tool to draw it. But if it's for consolidation area, we don't use lines to draw support and resistance for consolidation area. We use the rectangle to extend it above the weak. Yeah, the weak area. Everything covers support and resistance zone. Don't just use a line and then leave the weaks aside. No, it doesn't work that way. You draw everything, you cover up, fill everything, like what I just did here, like what I showed here. Yup, you fill everything, you cover everything. That is how to perfectly draw your support and resistance zone. Well, there you have it, support and resistance explained under 15 minutes. Somebody requested for this video in my comment section, and here it is. So whatever problem you have in trading, drop it in the comment section and I'll make a whole video just for you. So hit the like and subscribe button. Take time to study this video because support and resistance is going to help you in your trading journey. Once again, I'm going to see you in my next video.